What up, Worm Gang? Worm Bin Quinn here, and today I'm going to show you how I feed my bulk bin of European night crawlers. I'll show you what I feed them and how much, so let's get started. So I feed my worms Worm Chow. I feed them 2 tablespoons every 3 days. My Worm Chow blend is a mix of ground chicken layer feed, ground oats, whole wheat flour, ground eggshells, and kelp meal. The overall protein content's about 16%, so that helps the worms grow and reproduce. I like the ground eggshells because they help buffer the pH and add a little bit of grit. And then the kelp meal adds some essential micronutrients that help both the worm health and the microbial activity within the bin. So next up, I like to add ground oyster shell flour. This is going to help buffer the pH over the immediate term versus kind of the longer term of the crushed eggshells. This will help neutralize that high protein feed and prevent the bin from getting hot, but also help in the worm health as well. So once I have the worm chow and the oyster shell flour added to the bin, I like to just kind of mix it all together and mix it into the bedding material as well. That'll help just combine all the ingredients together, and I find it just helps minimize that protein poisoning and any adverse effects that the worms may experience from this feed. After getting that all mixed together, I go ahead and top it off with a few sprays of my molasses water, and this is basically just a mix of 1 tablespoon of unsulfured molasses to 32 ounces of water. So next up, I cover everything up with some new bedding material, because as you can see, I am running a mini wedge system within this bulk bin. So every time I feed, I add new bedding material on top of the feed. I know that can be controversial, but don't have any issues in my experience. So my bedding mix, it's a mixture of 4 different things. First off is what I call Forest Floor XL, which is basically forest floor soil with extra leaves that I've composted down and sifted. Next up will be what I call Pasture Plus, which is cow manure from the pasture with leftover hay that I've composted and sifted. Then I add some coffee grinds and then ground eggshells as well. I keep this bedding material in a separate breathable container and just make sure it's moist and add some of that molasses water to keep the microbes going, and simply just add it each time I feed. So as I mentioned, I'm running a mini wedge system within this bulk bin. And basically the objective of the wedge system is to be able to harvest the castings from the worms without having, worms and eggs within those castings. And the principle basically is to create a wedge at a 45-degree angle, and as you add the feed and the bedding material horizontally across the bin, the worms will migrate towards the food and away from their castings, thus making it easier for them to be harvested. So again, I like to just take this board and level everything out and get a nice shape to the wedge that I'm creating within the bin. And as the bin fills with worm chow and the worm bedding, once you get to the other side, you'll be able to harvest those castings, and then you can simply just start a new wedge going in the opposite direction from where you started. Once I have that done, I'm just going to go ahead and spritz it with some water to add some moisture to that bedding. In this case, I'm using well water. If you don't have access to that, you'll just want to use unchlorinated water or distilled water. So there you have it. That's how I feed my bulk bin of European night crawlers. If you found this video helpful, go ahead and give it a like. If you'd like to see more worm content, subscribe to my channel. and drop a comment if you have any questions or tips. Until next time, keep worming.